Hey Austin,
Hello.
can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay, good. I can hear you too. Thanks for joining, man.
no problem.
So I'll just give a few more minutes to others if they are going to join. Do you do you prefer this model where I move my office hour around during the week, or do you like it better where it's just one set hour every week that everybody kind of knows when it is?
Um, right now it doesn't bother me like you moving it around, but I'm applying for a whole bunch of different jobs, so that might change.
Okay. Do you live in Rexburg? Is that where you're applying?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the job market like for students there?
It's a little difficult because everybody's very like hired who they want, and I don't really know anybody, so there's no connections.
Yeah, that's tricky. Well, the good news is with college towns, there's often a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff you looking for?
I used to work for a Courtyard Marriott in Florida, so I wanted to
Ah,
work at the Marriott by the school,
yeah.
but they're not hiring right now. And
Mhm.
then I used to work as a lifeguard on campus, but I had to reapply, and there was 40 other applicants, and I didn't get the job for that.
Mm,
So
okay. Well, you got some experience though. That's good.
yeah, I just applied to be a shift manager for Taco Bell. And then I'm going
Mhm.
to apply for like Wells Fargo, Sprint, and like some other stores or places.
Mm, okay. Good. Well, I, I wish you luck on that. It's always hard, but I think the Lord has a special place for students in His heart when they're desperate and trying to figure out how to make ends meet. There's always some sort of window that He opens when doors seem shut.
Yeah.
Even in Rexburg. How cold is it up there right now?
I want to say it's in the 20s.
Geez. Okay. Yeah, I'm down here in Phoenix, so it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah. I went from Florida to this.
Yeah. So you know the score.
Hmm.
Well, good. It's about one after the hour. Let's give another minute or two, and we'll get we'll get started. And if no one else shows up, we'll have a short meeting on any questions you might have, and you give yourself the points, and we'll move along.
All right.
All right, we'll just go ahead then, Austin. Looks like we've got Kenneth here with us too. Hey, Ken. Do you go by Kenneth or Ken?
Ken. Hey.
Austin and Ken here today. Good to see you, valiant, stalwart students here. I'm Brother Christensen. Nice to have you here. Please give yourself the points for attending. And this is kind of an open office hour. We don't have to take the whole time. You get points even if we're here 5 minutes. So thanks for joining. But did want to just let you know how much I appreciate you being part of the class. And it's an imposing class because it's a high level class with a lot of difficult concepts. But you guys seem to be doing pretty well. And I know it's early, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from the class collectively. Are there any substantive questions that you have or questions about your groups or concerns about other students that you'd like to address here?
No, I think my group's really great. I really appreciate working with them. They always seem helpful to me and give me some insight. I have some study questions about the test when we get there, but that's about it for me. So.
Okay. Any of the concepts bothering you? It goes pretty fast to go through all the kind of the civil procedure stuff and the courts and the various, what's a regulation versus statute versus a law. And now we're quickly into contracts and offer and acceptance and consideration, all that. Are there any concepts that are bothering you about anything?
Like, I like the videos that you have for us to learn and like listen to, and like it breaks it down step by step. But like, there's a lot of stuff to remember, and when I took the final exam, or not final exam, but the first exam, I kind of struggled because there was a lot of information. And even though like my group is very good with like explaining things, and like when I do my own research to do like my assignments, it's hard for me to remember like all the concepts when it comes down to the exam.
Yeah, there's a lot of concepts, aren't there? And even with multiple choice, just 4 answers, it's still very nuanced. The questions in law are always, hinge on sometimes even one little word, and the word could be an indefinite article like or an versus the.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it tough, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's like what I struggled with in statistics. Like, there was a good, better, and best answer, and it's very difficult for me to like discern which one's the best versus like good and better.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. Well, that's why I try to be super lenient with appeals. So, a helpful hint that you're going to get that the rest of the class doesn't get because they're not here. I'm like really merciful on appeals. Like if I get, if you missed a question, which is, -4 out of 100 for 25 questions, each one worth 4 points. If you do an appeal and say you appeal, say you missed like 10 questions or 5 questions or whatever, and you appeal it, you appeal all 5 questions, I'll probably give you, 2 to 3 points on each one just for making an argument. Because what I want you to do is I want you to make an argument to me. If you feel like one of the questions was, not that it was unfair, but just that you thought that the legal principle should go a different way, I like the fact that you can argue, because that's exactly what you'd be doing as a lawyer. You want to argue the other side of it and say, you know what, I understand that probably that there was a contract, or that there was, some sort of tort that happened, that the person, was hit by the baseball bat, but the fact is the baseball bat would have never been there had so-and-so not put it there. So I feel like the answer should have been C instead of B, and this is why. And if you just make a 1 paragraph, it doesn't have to be really lengthy, just make an argument, and I'll give you some points for it. And ultimately, I mean, there's no reason why you can't get a really good grade out of this class simply by appealing, because I don't want you to feel like you're getting 60s and 70s or even 50s on the exams and not having a chance to get 80s and 90s by making good arguments. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
So most people in the class are going to do the motion to dismiss, and you get an easy 4 points. I'll give you 4 points just by saying, I hereby accept the judge's ruling on the test. There was, and you filed what we creatively and lovingly call a motion to dismiss. I dismiss my complaint against the examiner. And we did it that way to be cute, but so you dismiss your complaint against us as the examiner, but I give you 4 points for that. But if you appeal it and you say I'm going to file an appeal, I think these 5 questions should have been the answer should have been B because of this, and the answer should have been C because of this. I will give you, out of the 4 points, probably 2 to 3 points on each one, just for trying. And that's a freebie that I'm going to tell you right here. I'm really lenient with appeals because I think the way the exams were worded by the course creators are very difficult. They're the hardest part of this course. And I think if you make good arguments to me, I may give you a 1-pointer if I think your argument's kind of lame. And you'll know you made a lame argument, and I'll know you made a lame argument. But if you do a pretty good job with it, I'm going to give you 2 to 3 points on it, maybe a 4-pointer. Maybe you'll get the whole thing just by convincing me that, wow, maybe that answer should be that. Maybe the law should change the other way, your way. Maybe this should be the new Cannon-Austin law, and it should go the other way now. And that's where we're going to go. And there's no reason why you can't get an A out of the class, because of that. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better about whatever score you got.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. How about the quizzes? Because some people have been complaining that, the newspaper quiz was some of the quizzes, we rely on the groups to come up with the quiz questions because I want you all we as teachers wanted you guys to have a hand in the quiz questions. So first of all, each group gets at least one right because you made up the quiz. Secondly, it's coming from you so that you learn the material a lot better than us just giving you the quiz and you saying, well, where'd they get these questions from? But every 3 weeks, we'll do a newspaper one where you look in the papers, like this last week, where you have to find something in the papers that show that the very element that you're studying. But oftentimes that quiz becomes a little difficult because the quiz questions never really materialize very well. Did you find that to be the case this week, or were you guys okay with the way the quiz turned out?
I think the quiz was all right.
Okay.
I think it's good because we get 3 chances at it, so if we get the first one, then I'll be leaving for the second one because somebody figured it out. So
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, I wanted you to make sure you had at least three shots at that, so that's a good point. And I appreciate Austin you saying that it's okay, because sometimes the newspaper week, boy, you get these wacky quiz questions because maybe there's nothing on that topic, and so somebody reaches to the South Dakota Examiner to find some whacked out case that doesn't mean anything, and it's hard. But I think everybody's doing a really good job with the groups so far. What about your case briefs? You guys feeling comfortable, like you know how to case basically, and you're feeling comfortable with that a little bit?
I feel comfortable breaking down the briefcase, but I'm not really comfortable like the setup. I understand like I put the first assignment down like how I see it in my brain, but I didn't put it down like step by step how the instructions wanted it to. And that's something I know I need to personally work on, is following instructions a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, my TA grades the case briefs, so she's going to follow the instructions pretty closely just because I'm forcing her to. She doesn't have a lot of leeway there. But if you have a problem with that, or you say, hey, Brother Christensen, I don't like the way those instructions run, I'll listen to you. This whole legal system is about challenging stuff you don't like, and that's what's different about what we do in the law versus engineering, where 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. And so, but for the most part, yeah, follow those instructions. You should get everything, 100% if you just follow the instructions and try your best to do the instructions, and that TA should give you the full points on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's everything to date. The reading pretty manageable then, and the times that you're meeting with groups, working out, and people participating in your groups and everything.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's going there.
Google community working out. You guys keeping up with posting your recordings and everything. Seems like it.
Yeah.
Everything's going there. What
Okay.
would you recommend doing to like study for the exams a little bit better? Is there like a certain tactic or skill that maybe we could work on to do a little better there, or just more time?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ken. I think the best way to study for the exam is to really I think where the rubber hits the road is in the textbook. It's if you look at each principle, because the way I break down the exams is I'm going to pick 1 to 2 exam questions from each principle. So the idea of consideration in a contract, I'm going to pick 2 questions about consideration. I could tell Austin right now, look, Austin, if you whistle jingle bells, I'll give you $1 million. The fact that there's really no consideration for that, he didn't really do anything, he just whistled. A court would never hold me to pay him $1 million for that. That principle of consideration, where courts over time have said, the fact that a guy threw out an idea of $1 million for whistling, we're not gonna enforce that against the guy, against Brother Christensen. If you look in the book and just say, okay, consideration, that's a big topic, it's been bolded, I better understand that topic really well and exactly what that definition means. Then when it's put into a problem statement about Ernie and Bert or something like that, however we've couched it, I think you'll recognize it better and be able to say, okay, this is a question about consideration, and then let your brain kind of say, okay, consideration is something of value that is part of a contract. And so let each element, just know that the way I'm examining is by topic. So each bolded part of the reading, there'll be 1 to 2 questions about, and if you know what that definition means, and then just think about in your mind, what type of Ernie and Bert type or Superman type of questions could he come up with, and how do I recognize, okay, this is about duress. I read about duress, and it's about, Austin putting a gun to my head and saying, you better sign this agreement that you will pay me $1 million. There's no contract if I sign because he has a gun to my head. That contract is void. A court will never hold that against me because the gun was next to my head. Duress is when somebody is forcing somebody to do something in contract against their will, when they were forced to do it with the threat of deadly force. When you recognize that in a Superman type of question, you'll be able to immediately know what the answer is. And so I don't know how else to explain it, but I think that's the best way to do it, is just go through the reading and figure out definitionally which he test on, and if I know those definitions, then I'd be able to apply them to a factual situation, and I'll be okay. Does that help at all, Ken?
Yeah, that's really helpful. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay. I'll try to figure out, I mean, we used to give pre-quizzes, but then people were like selling the answers and stuff like that. So, we had to fail some people for cheating. So I'll try to see, we can repost some quiz questions as like pre-quizzes and stuff like that. But I think ultimately it's really about those definitions. So I think that's the best way, is just look at the definitions and really understand the bolded definitions, and then apply them in your mind. Say, how would a Superman question read about acceptance, offer, duress, and some of those big bolded questions? or concepts. All right, guys. Any other questions, concerns?
Nope.
Okay. Well, great. Well, it was good to spend some time with you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming. Give yourself the points, and hopefully I've given you something that you didn't have. I will post this link to a lot of to the rest of the class, but rarely do they look at it. So hopefully you got some nuggets that the others won't have, and they'll give you an advantage for coming. So thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good one.
thanks.
All right, brothers. Take care.
See
All
ya.
right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.